y'all come up this way, man. It's the only time I can tell a whole bunch of people to do something in the living. Morning, fellas. Morning. Hey, real quick. Hey, in the back. The meeting starts. Real quick, when you're mixing up your squincher, don't use one of the Kentwood bottles. We pay deposit on those bottles, and they don't have to take them back if we mix something up in them. Jimmy mentioned something about it, and he did. There were a couple of bottles that he took back, but they won't continue doing that. So if you got to mix up the squincher, if we need to get something for you, just let us know what it is. Try and get it mixed in the ice chest, but we'll accommodate you in any way we need to, but just don't mix it up in the Kentwood jug. I had to go to McDermott on Wednesday for a meeting, and McDermott in Amelia has kind of picked up some speed, you know. You know how our industry goes, kind of up and down. I think he said 2,200 employees. They have, over the past several months, had 10 near misses, and all 10 near misses pertain to dropped objects. When you got a platform out there that's 70 feet in the air and you drop something at 70 feet, a dropped object means a lot. So we talk about near misses quite a bit. Anybody who's been through any safety training whatsoever has probably seen the triangle where we lay out so many near misses are going to equate to a first aid, so many first aids are going to equate to some lost time. And if you're not active in doing something about it, as those things continue to add up, you wind up at some point or another, unfortunately, with a fatality. So we talked about some scaffolding yesterday, and we're going to corner up on a skid in here, and I just want to reinforce that it doesn't matter what you're doing. Anytime you're working at heights out of a man basket, when we get off the ground with a ladder, securing your tools and securing what you're working with is vitally important, and barricading the area below you is vitally important. Just to run through a couple of them that I can recall, a full sheet of plywood flew off the top of the platform. Full sheet of plywood falls from 70 feet and hits you, we got big problems, fellas. It's going to crumple you and break some bones. A big nut and bolt. Guy lost his grip on it, hit the stairway and bounced over the stairs, and it fell right next to someone. Hard hat's our last line of defense, but it can only do so much. Something falling from 70 feet, a little bit of weight, you're still going to feel it with a hard hat on. So it's about making sure you've got what you need up there with you. Tool lanyards is something that we can get for you. But more than that, it's about making sure that no one can wind up below you and you drop something on them. So as you make the assessment about where you're working, it can't just be that I'm working off this piece of scaffolding right here. What's taking place below me? Do I need to stop what's taking place below me? Do I need to barricade and make sure no one winds up there? So get real methodical with your thought process, because what you're doing may impact others. And if we're thinking through our JSA and we've got the job plan in place and we thought it through correctly, we won't impact anyone else, because we've done everything we need to make sure that no one else comes into contact with something. Fairly simple, requires some thinking. Yard's looking good. You guys did a thorough cleaning of the shop, pulling stuff away from the walls, and from time to time that has to be done, and we find out we got a little bit more room, and we find a couple of tools that we couldn't find, and we get things straightened up, and it looks good. Doing a lot of cutting of scrap material on the other side of the yard, so be careful if you go over there. Again, that's a place where at times there's absolutely no activity whatsoever, and right now we got some guys back there with torches and equipment, and we're trying to get rid of some of this scrap material. Other side of the yard, rigging side, has worked with some of the links to get that area straightened up. So by hook or crook as we can, fellas, we take the time to get things reorganized over here. We go through our little flurries where we really don't have enough time to put everybody on something, but when we do, we take the time to do it. That's what makes the yard look good. That's what makes the first impression of the customers coming over here an impression of these guys really care about what they're doing here. And I think we really do. And I think when it shows, that's something to be proud of. So keep up the good work, fellas. pretty much still maintaining our incident-free status in terms of lost time. October, we started saying this in January. That's a lot of hours, that's a lot of steel, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of opportunities for someone to need stitches, to have a broken bone, all the things that we've seen in the past that we've figured out how to keep from seeing them. Continue to do that, guys. The big thing at McDermott, and a new manager's in town there, and when there's a new sheriff in town, he always wants to come in and reinforce. And when you look at a facility like McDermott, probably on any given day, less than 30% of the employees on that yard belong to McDermott. They're depending on us, they're depending on all the other companies, the Versatechs, to come in there and build these projects. So they lean on us quite heavily because we can cause them a lot of grief. And it's not to keep them from getting into a bad situation, it's to keep us from getting into a bad situation. It's a double-edged sword when you go into somebody else's yard. Some people don't care at all about safety, they only care about getting the job done. Doesn't mean you walk into their yard and that's how you feel about it. But some yards are a little bit more on top than others. Some yards are way on top of their game because unfortunately over the past 5 years, a yard like Peter's killed about 5 people. You got to tighten up when you're killing people about every other year. So we work in a yard where we care about safety. Management cares about safety, the workers care about safety. And it shows. But it should carry when you leave this yard. Should carry you through your vacation, should carry you when you're home working on the weekends, and certainly if you go on anybody else's facility, you should embrace the same things that we know over here that's going to keep you from getting hurt. Keep up the good work, good job. Houston's in the same boat we're in. We're going to make this year and we're going to have no lost time, fellas. Pat yourself on the back for it, and I'll try and squeeze something beyond that that maybe is a little bit better to pat on the back. But that's a tremendous effort, fellas. What y'all got?
We're saying tools. You can always use tagline or something, rope, tie your tools in your hand, tie it onto a rig, and whatever you're trying to rig, and we'll use a rope, tie it onto the man basket or something where if you do lose control of it, the rope's going to snag it for you.
Your tools need to be secured. In a man lift, it needs to have a toe board so you don't kick your tool on someone. Check your scaffolding out. Fully plank your scaffolding and nothing's going to fall just directly down below. There's things we can do, fellas. You make a choice to do it or you make a choice not to do it. That's on you, not on me. Make the right choice. Who else? Yes. Couple of newer faces, just to go over it again. The 2 long machines out there, test machines, we go up to some pretty high loads on those machines. We test everything that we use in this yard, should have a 1-year test date. Anything that's leaving here for a client lift gets tested, and we destroy things in it. A normal routine day, we're just testing over there and we don't assume a failure, although I don't know if that's the right way to approach it. We understand that if you're far enough away, the distance is going to take care of you. When you see red flashing lights, we're testing. We're going up on a load. At that point, if you need to bring something to the machine, it's communicating with them before you approach the machine. And you know, as a general rule, if you do that every time, then you don't have to worry. Call one of those guys if you bring the component over there to them and just get some clearance. Do the same thing in the slingshot. Get some clearance before you just come through the door with a piece of equipment. And then we're in the habit of doing it and it slows us down this much and it's not going to matter at all. So be careful around the test machines. Crane activity, cherry picker activity, and they've been real busy over there.
You can be proactive and take the Alabama flag.
We can be proactive and take the Alabama flag. Now, how in the world the Alabama flag wound up and getting put up over here, fellas? We like Alabama too, man. We all that one. Anybody else? Oh, we don't keep running it? You don't go park it somewhere and don't let anybody know about it? Fellas, when you got a problem with a piece of equipment, with a tool, when you don't have brakes on your freaking golf carts, you need to get it fixed. Because we're not gonna give you a free ride when you run into something and it's because you didn't have brakes on a piece of equipment you were operating. We can't endorse that, fellas. Not for 1 minute. And I know you justify it thinking, well, I know they don't have brakes, so I'll be all right. It's not all about you. Somebody else jumps on that golf cart, doesn't know that there's no brakes, and we're in a world of trouble over here. Something breaks on a piece of equipment, we need to know about it. We don't need to know about it so we can bitch at you, because I don't think anybody over here really intentionally messes up the equipment. But equipment breaks, we got potholes, we got all kind of issues over here. Let us know about it. Just don't go park it and leave it there. You're not going to get in any trouble over it. We need to know about it. But more than that, we need to prevent somebody else from getting into a piece of equipment or onto a golf cart that's unsafe, right? Do the right thing. Who else? Y'all have a good day, fellas.